How's it going, guys? And I'm here with a review of Halloween Ends, the last film in the Blumhouse trilogy. So this was meant to do away with all the Halloween sequels. No, not like H2O where they just, kept one and two. This one, they just kept one, and everything else that happened in between is retconned and it's, lost to time, basically. Now, 2018, Halloween 2018, the first part, the, reimagined Halloween 2, you could say, that is a really good film. I mean, I don't know. I do like Halloween 2, the original, but this is definitely a good companion piece, we could say. But there's more to the story. But it's a standalone film. 2018 actually still works really well. I mean, you could actually, have that movie just end like that on a mystery, not knowing if Michael Myers died or not. And I think it works just fine. But, we knew ahead of time that there was going to be a series of movies planned. So, of course, just like tradition, we have to have multiple sequels to any slasher film, any horror film. There's always going to be sequels. It's pretty much written in stone about any franchise. So, to me, it's a bit funny that the reason why they did this was kind of to work around the sequels that were less successful. Now, I don't know why they would do these movies and not do away with Halloween 2. You could, but I don't really see why it's necessary. You're also taking out a lot of vital lore with Loomis and all that, but, the one glaring thing, the one thing that, of course, they wanted to get away from was that Laurie Strode and Michael Myers are siblings. And this has always been a big, disaster. And I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I think it is sort of interesting, but you know what? If you ask me, I think it's better that they don't have any connection. I don't know. It doesn't really seem like it makes sense. I think the less we know, the less connection between Laurie and Michael, the better. I don't really think that there should be that much backstory. I think that really takes away from the mystique. This is a problem we've got with a lot of films, especially the Star Wars franchise, like what's going on at Disney Plus, where every single character needs a backstory. No one could be mysterious. They've lost the art of, being stoic, of being mysterious. You got to know every little thing, just like you have to know every little thing about Han Solo. We have to make a whole movie about it. Like we have to see the Kessel Run. It can't just be left up to legend. And, the first Halloween 2018 out of this trilogy was very good about giving Michael Myers his mystique back from the 1978 film. Even if I could say the sibling thing does have a little something to it, there is a bit of charm there. It feels a bit tongue-in-cheek in a way, sort of, but I could definitely see why John Carpenter would want to do away with that. I know that was a little bit of John Carpenter, but this is, also up to, the new production studio. I mean, the way they want to run things. But of course, John Carpenter is always going to be there overseeing things. I don't know how much things went his way. But, just to give you a little bit of backstory there, I don't think that Halloween Kills was really like a necessary film. I thought it was interesting. Having Anthony Michael Hall play Tommy, the kid that Laurie babysat in the first film, I thought that had something to it. He became somewhat of a badass, a tough talking kind of guy. And, he does get his licks in on Michael. But we kind of saw what they were doing with Halloween Kills. It was sort of like Halloween 2. Laurie is in the hospital. There's like no interaction between her and Michael. Her daughter gets killed. And, so you would think Michael Myers and, Laurie Strode are going to have it out in Halloween Ends. The shit's on. There's going to be a massive showdown between these two absolute legendary horror figures. They're going to go at it. maybe it won't be like Freddy versus Jason because, it's like, the protagonist versus the antagonist. But, it should be a good showdown. We should get something good. I was expecting something of quality because, you know what? Halloween Kills is not really a bad movie. Some people said it was, but it is an interesting premise. I like that we get to see Lindsay back, getting to see all these characters in the town kind of rallying up, kind of like an angry mob that's sick of Michael Myers shit, but we kind of fall into the supernatural territory, which it kind of seemed like in 2018 they were kind of getting away from. Like they were kind of getting Michael back to the, he's just a cold-blooded killer. Now, that doesn't explain, why how he could get shot 6 times, fall off a balcony from several yards up in the air and still live. But, it still, it still was a decent movie to me. Definitely left a lot to be desired. There definitely was kind of annoying that Laurie Strode is like stuck in the hospital the whole time. And we kind of have to rely on the secondary characters to get things done. Of course, there's more spotlight placed on the daughter and, and the granddaughter. So, there's that, Allison gets more time to shine and all that. But, so, I mean, whatever. You could say what you want about Kills, but, this is Halloween Ends. They're gonna put, balls to the wall here. We're gonna get something massive. We're gonna get something good. They were setting the table. Multiple people in the town getting killed. Tommy gets killed. Laurie's daughter gets killed, after they're just starting to patch things up, but we come into Halloween Ends and, we don't even start off with Laurie Strode. We don't start off with Allison, with the granddaughter, no, how she's feeling or anything. No, instead, we focus on a random babysitter, a kid called Corey, and he's like, he's babysitting this little, shithead, bratty kid, and there's an accident. Kid locks him in the closet, or in a room. He gets mad, starts kicking the door, to let him out. Kicks the door. Kid's like right behind the door, goes flying off a balcony, smashes like several feet down, falls several floors, and it's a pretty shocking beginning to this movie. I sat there saying, oh shit, like, it's like one of those stunning moments, and I'm like, what's happening here? Who is this guy? Why are they starting off the movie this way? I'm intrigued. You've got my attention, so that's good. I won't take that away from the movie. That is a good way of starting things off. You've got the initial intrigue. You've captured my attention. I don't know who this character is. I don't know why we're starting off this way. I mean, with a character we haven't seen before, when so much happened in Halloween Kills that's, vital to the story. Why so much happened, in the previous 2 films, but we're starting off this way. But okay, whatever. So this kid gets arrested. Obviously he didn't mean to do what he did. It was an accident. He didn't expect the kid to be behind the door, but whatever, So finally we get to see Laurie Strode, and, now, for some reason she's done running from Michael, she's just going to let all her defenses down, after this whole maniacal, possibly, immortal being manages to survive a fire, survive her well thought out trap, survive getting shot in the neck, and all this stuff. And, she's just, moving back into the, into the main town of Haddonfield. She's moving away from her fortress in the wilderness, and she doesn't even have half her guns, her security systems, her traps, nothing. It's cool, never mind her daughter being killed by Michael Myers, and she should now have a bloodlust for Michael Myers, wanting to get her revenge. I get it that, Myers only comes out on Halloween, but she should be hunting this guy down. Allison should be angered equally as well because this is her mother, and she had spent more time around her mother than Lori spent around the daughter. So like, okay, so right away there's something fishy going on here, because we shouldn't be starting off, a movie with a character that has nothing to do with the previous two movies. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit perplexing. This kid Corey, okay, I get it if this is maybe another film in the series, but this is Halloween Ends, mind you. So this kid ends up being in a relationship with Allison, and we see that Corey kind of does have an evil side, but he's pushed to the brink. There's some bully teenagers that are making fun of him, picking on him, and they get into a few altercations, and he ends up getting thrown off a bridge, uh, goes into a drain pipe, finds Michael Myers there. He's hiding out in a drain pipe. Now, the thing is supposed to be that they demolished his old house in Haddonfield. So, like, Michael Myers is now officially homeless. He's got no place to stay. So, what's he going to do? He's underneath the bridge and he's living in a drain pipe. And, okay, so, I don't get it. Because, this guy has like walked into multiple houses and just killed the residents. So I don't know why he can't do that. Instead, he's just, hiding in a drain pipe. I don't, I don't get it. I kind of do. He's kind of waiting for Halloween, but he's staying in the drain pipe, whatever. So anyway, he goes into the drain pipe. He gets dragged into the drain pipe, I should say. By Michael, by an unseen figure that ends up being Michael Myers. So he drags him in, and this part I don't understand. So like he brings him in there, doesn't kill him right away. So now he's able to get up, walks around, and finds Michael Myers like hiding in a crevice. Myers goes to, choke him out, but then he looks deep in his eyes and he sees something and he just releases Corey, and Corey flees, and, he sees an old homeless man outside. He tells him to go back inside, and, bring him the mask, and, he tries to kill Corey himself. He turns the tables and he ends up killing the old man. So, we now see that there's a change in Corey. We even see Corey teaming up with Michael. And we kind of see here that the reason why Michael let him go is because he saw a little bit of him in Corey. Now, this is obviously implied. Even Lori says this later on when she realizes it, when she looks at Corey. We even see a similar shot that now they've reused twice. Once they did with Lori in the 2018 movie, now they're doing it again with Corey being outside their house, behind a bush, glaring. But he actually reveals himself. They also end up killing the doctor that Allison works for and his assistant, which this feels a little bit like not warranted. Because, yeah, he's a little mean to Allison, like when she's, like, helping Corey because he got injured by those bullies and he got glass in his hand. She accidentally, like, hits the tools, and they go flying on the floor, and he yells at her. And it's like, I don't really see it, like why he's specifically going after the doctor. He also gets the cop that's, like, still hot for Allison, gets him killed as well, has Michael Myers kill him. There's this one really goofy part where he's like struggling with Myers because he wants his mask. So, he's flopping around with him, and there's like this scene where it's like the camera's just stationary, and you kind of see like they're moving side to side, going off camera, and it just looks so goofy to me. Like, I get it. Myers sees some of this, of himself in this kid, but he's gonna let this kid like throw him on the ground and wrestle with him. Like, he's just a punk kid. Like, he's a weak looking kid. He's not even a big kid. Michael Myers there, 6'7", probably weighs like 270 pounds. I mean, he steps on someone's head and explodes like a watermelon, and he's letting this kid knock him down and horseplay with him. I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. And not like the actor that plays Corey, not like he's like a bad actor or anything, but I don't know, like I would expect more of a psychological performance from him, but something was lacking. I'm not really getting that like he snaps in this. Like, and not, he didn't really have a very good far away look in his eye. Like, I think that kid in 1978 did a better job, like, staring when he's in the clown suit, to tell you the truth. That's kind of like what we needed here. We needed to, like, be like, oh, shit, he's just like Michael. And even though we got that scene, of them, like, in the sewer together, I don't really feel like this is the heir to the Michael Myers throne. Now, it's not like they don't give him some time to shine. He kills the bullies, he kills a DJ, he kills his own mother. So they do have him do Michael Myers-ish things, but it just all just kind of feels thrown in there, and you don't really feel like, oh wow, this character, like this is the next Michael Myers. You're just like, okay, and can't Michael Myers just do these kills? Like, Myers is just actually letting this guy steal his mask, like lets him get away. Because this kid didn't injure him. He might have like tackled him to the ground, but he's not hurt or anything. You should just like give me that mask back. Like, what are you doing? So he just gets tossed to the side like he's nothing basically when he goes after Laurie Strode. And like, I kind of get it. Like, Myers is kind of sending the message to the kid, like, okay, I like you, kid, but you're not going after Laurie, okay? And so he snaps his neck and he's thrown to the wayside. Like he's absolutely nothing, like a bag of trash. Like, we didn't spend like over an hour with this kid. Like, even more than that, like an hour and 20 minutes. Like, I don't really get it. So, they get Michael in a position with the help of Allison. They nail him down to the table. They stab him. And, yeah. And so, Michael Myers is dead for the time being. But of course, he's not dead enough. Laurie feels, that he's going to rise again. So, of course, what do? They tie him to the roof of a car, drive him off to where Corey worked, which was at like a mechanic shop, and they throw him in a machine grinder, and he just gets all torn to pieces, which is a pretty good way of him going out. I mean, I personally think like the way they took him out, like in Halloween 2, just like, burning, I think is a good way of, him just disintegrating before your eyes. Feels more dramatic than just simply throwing him into something. But if I get it, it feels very final, because now there's like nothing left of him. He's mincemeat. But that part is all fine and well, but even the finale kind of feels like it falls flat. Like, there's not much there. Like, the Halloween 2 finale feels more dramatic, when they're turning on the gas or whatever, and Loomis lighting the flame on the lighter, and blowing everything sky high into flames. I mean, that was better than this, like nailing them down to a table. And it just kind of felt a bit slow and plotting, and it felt, it didn't feel like it was any, better than in Halloween Kills, when everyone from the neighborhood and Tommy is ganging up on him. Like, that actually felt like a more brutal assault than this. I get it. They're cutting his throat, they're cutting his wrist, but, he does get stabbed in the head. So that was something, you know, in Halloween Kills. That felt like even more brutal. That feels like more of an instant death than just slitting something. But I don't know. Whatever. We could debate all day, you know, what felt more brutal, you know. But it just kind of falls flat in the end, to say the least. And the thing that really just falls flat is like the story. Why did they decide to do this? Why did they decide in Halloween Ends to make it like this is the movie where we're going to introduce a new character after we had all these other characters being carried over from the previous movies? Yes, I know, you know, Tommy and a lot of these other people weren't, you know, seen in 2018. But in Kills, you know, at least these are characters we know. You know, we know Lindsay, we know Tommy. It makes sense that they would want their revenge. You know, they want to help Laurie and pay her back because she's injured in the hospital. So you could see where that's coming from. That's smart writing. There's continuity there. Here, there's no sense of continuity. You know what this is like? This kind of, seriously, it reminds me of Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. It's like, huh? And then, huh? Like, what, you know, you got like two movies that are supposed to lead into one another, and they feel like totally different movies that have nothing to do with one another. And that was the vibe I was getting from this. It was just rando as hell. You know, it was Randall Calrissian, speaking of Star Wars. It truly was. You know, like just this Corey kid. You know, I'm sorry, like, not that they weren't telling a decent story. It was just gone about in the wrong way, and it felt really, really lazy. It almost feels like they had a different script in mind, and then they just, you know, they scrapped the script. That's like a real tongue twister there, you know, and just did away with it, rewrote it, you know, and like didn't really give a lot of thought, and also forgot that they were writing the finale. You're writing the third act to a story. You know, I get it. You know, technically it's like the fourth act because, you know, we're still counting Halloween, but you know what I mean. Out of the sequels, the continuation, it's the third act. This is like, you know, so speaking of Star Wars, supposed to be a Return of the Jedi. You know, we should have our climactic battle here. You know, this is where things should get resolved. And, you know, they really seemed like they were taking the focus off of Michael Myers and Laurie Strode and putting it, you know, even though they're on the fucking movie poster, mind you, and they're putting it on Allison and Corey in this relationship. And hey, look, I can appreciate, I ain't gonna rag on the whole thing. Look, you know, I think the actress who plays Allison also, you know, she did a pretty good job. And I think it's kind of like she's a little psychologically messed up from what's going on. So she's attracted to Corey because he has this, like, she feels bad for him. But it's also like some kind of weird psychological thing because, like, he is a killer unintentionally, but she kind of sees it in him. And, you know, maybe that's some kind of weird thing with her, you know. But there is, like, something at play there, you know, like, that she does like Corey, but it's kind of like, you know, why does she like him so much? Because he's way different than the other doofuses that she dated, and like, you know, a lot different than the doofus that she was dating in the first and second movie. So, you know, there's that, but you know, like, we're not here for like relationships. I'm sorry, like, yeah, we gotta have other story. I get it. You know, there's always little stories going on in the Halloween films, all of them. But, you know, the main focus should have always been on Myers and Laurie. But you know what's weird? The fact that it's the same director throughout. And the director, you know, David Gordon Green, he was there for all three films, 2018, Kills and Ends. You know, there were some different writing credits in there, but, you know, David and Danny McBride were there as writers for all of them. So, like, how did this one turn out so differently? I'd really like to know what happened there. I'm, like, very confused by this film. You know, it's not all bad, but it's not great. And I'm really just a bit concerned, really, because I don't get how 2018 was that good. Kills set the table pretty nicely. It could have done something a little bit better. But, you know, Ends just kind of really dropped the ball. and the ball fell on my foot, and then it rolled over, and it then, rolled over my toes on the other foot, and didn't feel too good after it. Felt kind of underwhelmed and, unsatisfied. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. So this is it, for Blumhouse. They're done. Now the license goes away and someone else is going to pick it up. So, I will say this. Way better than the Rob Zombie films. Oh, man. Way better than them. Those movies were not good. So we could say that Halloween Ends was definitely better than Halloween 2 by Rob Zombie. That's not saying much, but you know what I mean. Yeah, disappointed. Let's discuss it in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell to get all notifications when I post on my new videos. Hit the thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Hit the thumbs down button if you feel like I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. And I want to thank all my patrons for your continued support. Thanks again, guys. I'll see you next time.